Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of the 20 podcast here on the Dugout Football Channel and the Totally Levy and Horne Football Pod as well. Another fascinating weekend has happened in the Premier League, and we are here to discuss everything that happened in week 9. And yeah, an unlikely weekend where all three promoted clubs win. Yeah, that doesn't happen very often, but fair play to all three of them. But joining me as usual is my co-host, Mr. Karl Edwards Levy. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, thank you. I'm really so glad to do this, especially on my first day of my new job, actually. So yeah, it has been a little bit of a busy day, but at least I got here, I get to do this with you, and I got to watch majority of all the games, all through the highlights just before we started, because I know it was a busy day for me. So yeah, I'm looking forward to discussing all the topics of the next hour or so.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, the headlines: Eze puts Arsenal 4 points clear. The Bees sting the Reds. Yes, Liverpool lose for another game in a row. 4 defeats in a row now in the Premier League. Sunderland's season goes from better to even. Amazing after they beat Chelsea 2-1 at Stamford Bridge. And yeah, Burnley win the classic six-pointer between themselves and Wolves. And yeah, Leeds United beat West Ham, but are West Ham looking like they are going towards the trap door? Well, we'll discuss everything when we go to these games. But we'll begin with the league leaders, Arsenal. They did beat Crystal Palace by 1 goal to nil. Not a very great game, I've got to be honest. Watched the highlights of this one, and obviously it looked like it was just one team wanting to win. But I think it was written in the stars, Karl, that Eberechi Eze was likely to have a say in this game, and he duly scored the winner.
Yeah, he did actually. It's not surprising. It was always going to be written in the stats when you play against your old club, and especially for Eze himself. Had a really good 4 or 5 seasons at Palace before he made a big move to return back to his own way. It all started for him at Arsenal, and for him to get the goal, he used to celebrate anyway against his former club of how much he had success under them, especially getting to the FA Cup final last season and winning the Community Shield, and being part of that unbeaten run as well. I just think it was always going to happen. You could tell he was going to be one of probably the main player was top players that was going to score yesterday, and it was not surprising at all actually. And overall, yes, Arsenal did not perform, as a bit boring, but sometimes you have to be boring to win the titles. Yes, everyone we all expect to. Football is kind of entertainment in a way, but you don't have to be entertained by playing entertainment football because that doesn't give you like long term success at all.
Yeah, just to make people aware, I didn't put the term boring because I think they're they're boring. Jeff Stelling said on Talksport today that he thinks Arsenal are, in his words, boring and want to be more expansive. So yeah, that I just to sort of clarify that I did not think that at all. But no, Arsenal are looking really, really good. I think they've got the squad now. I think they've got the know how to win games. Still early on, they could still have their usual collapse in November, December time, but at the moment they are looking very, very good.
Yeah, they're looking very good as one of the pre contenders favorites. For the Premier League completely. And as I said, look, this is Arteta's big season now. They have to win the trophy, and yes, it might not be playing the best pre football. But if look what Chelsea did on Jose Mourinho. They didn't play the best pre football, but they still grind out results. And I think that's what Arsenal are looking to do. And I think they got the squad now, especially they had to invest on getting Eze and also getting Gyökeres as well. And also Zubimendi. They have got the squad there. It's just they need to maintain it through the course of the season when the going gets tough completely.
Yeah, absolutely. But Palace, I mean, I wouldn't say they're I wouldn't say they're in really, really poor form because I think that would be very, very harsh for me to say, but they are on a bit of a blip.
Yeah, they are on a bit of a blip at the moment, which is, I think after losing to Everton, I expected to resurge completely, but they have been a bit. They had their first defeat in the Europa Conference League to separate side last it, and I can't say the name properly, but they did have their first, the European in the Conference League debut at home, their first defeat as well. And I think, yeah, going to Emirates, I expected a little bit closer from Palace, but they are in a bit of a blip. But I think I wouldn't worry about them too much. I think Glasner will find a way to to get the Palace back to its winning ways at some point, and it will be sooner than later because they have the capability of overcoming this little blip in form they have at the moment.
Yeah, the game did come at a cost for Arsenal though. Declan Rice, William Saliba, I can't remember the other one. Both all came off injured, so that could be a bit of a worry. Um, I think that the last thing I think Arsenal need is really injuries to those two, Declan Rice and William Saliba, because I think they're really um, important. I can't think of the life of me who the third player was that got injured, but there were definitely three players that went off injured in that game.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
I did hear about that. I think the players, I think the third player, I'm going to find it actually, who did came off yesterday, and I think it was. I was thinking more Calafiori actually than
Calafiore,
yeah, pretty much Calafiori. I think like I said, Gabriel's one of them. We know that.
yeah.
So yeah, I think yeah, I think it is. I think it is Calafiori at the moment. So yeah, it's actually at injuries return. So let's just see. I'm just looking here. So yeah, it was actually no Saka. It was actually Bukayo Saka. So yeah, no, it was
Osaka,
Calafiori. It was Calafiori who was taken off. Yeah, because he suffered the issue.
yeah.
It was with Calafiori. Yeah, it was Calafiori. I thought I had
Calafiore, Declan Rice, and William Saliba all came off injured. So we'll be interested to see sort of where when they come back. But yeah, Arsenal 4 points clear now. Um, and yeah, we'll come to the second place team, which is quite unbelievable when we will get to it. But yeah, they are 4 points clear at the top of the table.
Absolutely. Let's move on to the next game and let's go to the GTEC Community Stadium. And in a disappointing week for Liverpool, especially the loss to Brentford 3-2, the Bees sting the rest completely. John Henson was very magnificent against his former club. And also, Doug, especially, we have to talk about the penalty decision. We'll start off with Gakpo after Nathan Collins broke down. Do you think that was a penalty?
I've seen a lot of people speak about this decision. Um, I think if you go down so easily like that, then I don't know why he didn't shoot in the first place. Um, I think personally it's a dive. I got heavily criticised for this on social media. I actually said at the time I didn't think it was a penalty, and I stand by it. I don't think it was a penalty. I think if you give penalties for that, I think it's I think the game is way gone. To be honest with you, so for me, no, it wasn't a penalty. And I've got to say that's another game where I'm like, we didn't deserve anything in that game.
Mm,
Brentford were the far superior team. Um, I mean, we were undone by the long throw from Christopher Ryer. It was flicked on, and Watara got the goal. Um, Still a bit unconvinced with Kirkes defensively. Kirkes is the one thing. The one thing that really worries me in this team is that he's bought these players, but it almost seems to me Kirkes isn't a left back. I think Kirkes is more of a wing back. If we're
yeah.
being brutally honest with us, I think he is more of a wing back. Connor Bradley's obviously the main right back at the moment as well. And then Van Dijk and Kanati, who I've got to say again, Kanati was dreadful.
Mm,
I don't think Marmadash really had a good game. I don't think he should doesn't really cover himself in glory for the second goal. I think he
no.
should sort of be more out of there. But again, Kirk has obviously gets the goal, the the end of the first half, and then Salah, poor performance, but again, getting that goal, which was a cracking finish to be fair to him. But again, sort of questions why he came straight back in, because the way we played against Eintracht Frankfurt just didn't make any sense to sort of bring him back in.
No,
What's Federico Chiesa got to do to get a start as well is another matter for me altogether. But we've got players to come back. Gravenberg, Isaac, Allison, they're gonna come back very very soon. I would imagine. But very concerning. 5 defeats in the last six. It's in all competitions. I should say. Obviously four in a row in the Premier League now, and obviously one in the Champions League. It's not a great run, and I fear for Arne Slot. I really do. For the first time in a long, long time, I really fear for the manager. This is
that's
his
really
first.
interesting for you to say that, especially after he brought one in the Premier League last season, and especially you now say he's under pressure.
I think he is under pressure. The amount of money he spent. He had to develop his squad because the squad that he had was obviously leftovers of obviously Jurgen Klopp. Um, he's got his own players in, and it just feels to me that the pressure is getting to him slightly. And some of the things he's saying in press conferences. Look, I'm not. I will say this now. I said this last week. I'm not one of these people to call for the manager's head or anything like that. But at this moment in time, performances are not great, and that unfortunately lies with the manager, and obviously it lies with the players as well. I do have to say though, Van Dijk hasn't had his best season this season so far, um, and again another penalty decision where yes, it's on the line. I get that, but again, it's lazy defending from Van Dijk. Just just try and get the ball off Watara, who does go down, and it is a penalty because it is on the line, and obviously on the line it means a penalty.
Yeah,
But I think all our struggles, we have to say, Brentford thoroughly deserved to win. Very, very good. As I said, Jordan Henderson was absolutely magnificent. I thought Sepp Vandenberg was brilliant at the back. He headed everything away. Looks a really, really good wee player for Brentford. And yeah, the,
yeah,
the best player on the pitch for me was Damsgaard. He ran the show. Obviously got the assist for Kevin Schade. He was excellent. He was really, really good. And I may have underestimated Brentford. I've got to say this now for the first time this season. I feel like I've underestimated them,
same.
and
Yeah, yeah,
it feels like that they could. Obviously, it's still too early to sort of say where they're going to finish, etc. But it's really, really encouraging to beat Manchester United and Liverpool back to back at the GTEC.
it is very much is, and like I said, you can't underestimate Brentford under Keith Andrews. I think it's surprising that I just see them be comfortable in mid-table this season again, and I think that's all they wanted to have. And I think with Thiago coming back good into the form, and then you got Damsgaard, Vandenberg as well, who surprisingly Liverpool sold a couple of seasons ago. I feel like does Liverpool even have a buyback clause for him?
I'm not honestly not sure. I know that they do have with Carvalho. Kelleher, I'm pretty sure they've got a buyback clause for him as well.
Mm.
But Set Vandenberg, I'm not too sure. Not too sure, but thought overall Brentford deserved to win. So I've no complaints about the result.
No, no complaints at all. I think they deserve to win it, especially beating both Man United and Liverpool in the last couple of weeks as well, which is really good for their especially with the home form is going to be vital this season.
Absolutely. But we move from Liverpool's troubles to a team that is absolutely flying, and that is Sunderland. Yet again, another fantastic victory. This time at Stamford Bridge, coming from a goal behind to beat Chelsea by 2 goals to 1. I mean, we'll get Michael's thoughts very very soon, Karl. But once again, what a victory for them. I mean, 20. It's the funny thing with Sunderland now is that yeah, they've got 17 points. They've got 23 points left to get to that magic 40. But I honestly look at that Sunderland side and I just don't see anything of them to be in trouble. Yes, they've got a tough run of games coming up. Obviously, the next couple are really, really difficult. But they've obviously got to Stamford Bridge and won.
Yeah,
How impressed have you been with Sunderland? Because I've got to say, they have been a big surprise for me.
they
Not
have
not
been.
so much not so much to the fact that they've got these results, but it's more of the fact that they've been very, very competitive, brought almost really like a new sort of squad, but it's definitely gelling.
It's yeah. There's so many I can't say anything more to give more than a praise for Reggie Labrie and Sunderland at the moment. I think it's that these players have no fear in them, and I think for the first time we've seen that they're not fearing when you have experienced captain like lead like Granit Xhaka who won at Bayer Leverkusen. He comes back and actually really takes that midfield to storm. Lefebvre has been he's worth the outlay now after he came on last season alone and they pay which is big money. I don't know what things to say. Yeah, they're gonna have a bit of tougher on the fixtures, and especially if they get more points before most of the players go for the Afcon nation, African nation. I think they'll be comfortable. They've got the squad there that can actually keep if they get the more points and by the time to get to January, I think they will be all right. We're all right. I think that Sonny's got enough to fear, and it looks like. But hearing rumours that Joe Bellamy might be back at Stadium Black because he's had a bit of a not good time at Borussia Dortmund. So he could back and Son can make again another kind of profit, especially because they had the percent profit. So to quite honestly, overall, Son have been doing quite well and they're counter attacking, it works for them. And I think that's what they needed to do, and especially for the first goal coming from a set piece and, Wilson Eastlaw got the equaliser. But Tabali, who I've been rating so much when he's at Club Brugge to get the
Mm,
winner. I said he's gonna be that gem for Sunderland if they do if he keep him fit and as well, and he's gonna be having a lot of suitors in the next couple of years. But I think overall, where Sunderland is that they got this no fear, and I think for the fans for the first time, it's a huge optimism after being over 8 years away from the Premier League, and it needed to be as well because after what happened, it's taken so long, but that club is very well run, and I think the tactics is spot on when they play against the teams, not just the teams around them. And everyone's saying that they've had easy games. Not really. They've had difficult games. They had to beat a difficult Wolves side at home. Got a point against
yeah.
Villa after they went down to 10 men. Yeah, could have had a chance to get something at Man United, but they played well. What more people want? And I think deep down, I think they're going to be one of those teams that really be comfortable away from the relegation battle.
Yeah, as I said, we will hear Michael's thoughts because he has sent us a video, and then I imagine he's got a beaming smile as the weir of time. Let's just say that. But Chelsea, obviously Garnacho got the goal, but are they missing Liam Delap? Because I look at that Chelsea side. Mark Guiu looked okay. I would have to say, but they've not got an outlet. Liam Delap gives them something different. He is an outlet for obviously Joe Pedro. For me, I don't think Joe Pedro really is a striker. I think he's sort of more of a a forward. So he's gone on a bit of a drought now
Yeah,
as well. But for me, Karl, I don't know about you, but for me, I think Chelsea are missing just that key piece, just an outlet, and I feel that Delap gives them that.
I do agree with that, Doug. I think with that, it's been a key missing piece. I know Cole Palmer's been missing that, and he's out again till after the November international break. But I think Delap holds is the more credible option they've really missed at the moment up front. I think, like I said, Pedro started quite well, but he's balled off a little bit, quite hugely, especially not having Delap there. It's a bit of a worrying time for Enzo Maresca. He's not really thought, but to try to soften that blow, who can actually play up front. And I think that's a huge word for him. He needs to go forward, especially now. You're a guy not just scoring, but I think when you're not having like a player when you bought Liam Dart for that reason to be that replacement, then I think it's a huge concern. And I think it's vital they try to get it back sooner, before either before the international break or after, because there's going to be Chelsea going to have some winter fixtures coming up to the festive period.
Yeah, they absolutely do. But until further ado, we will hear from our very good friend Michael Bowers on another fantastic victory for his team.
Chelsea 1, Sunderland 2. No, you are not going partially deaf. You are not going clinically insane. You are not on crack cocaine or any high level of drugs. That score actually happened. And I can't believe I've actually just spent the last 15 seconds or so talking about that. Keeping my head firmly on the ground. It is still 40 points. That is still the target for Sunderland this season. That is still the overall aim for this season. It's still survival for me. Now, I've heard whispers from inside the club, and this could be just gospel. It could be. Don't take it as pure gospel because it could be nonsense. But the aim within the group is that they want better than this season, as in just staying up. Now, me personally, if you offered me 17th right now, I'd be over the moon with that, because it's obviously been 8 years prior to this season since we were last back in the Premier League. But I think as Karl and Doug, and thanks very much to these two legends for having me on, by the way, every fan of every club will tell you, you stick with your club through thick and thin through the bad times. And believe me, I have seen plenty of bad times when it comes to Sunderland, and I can now appreciate how good we seem to be right now. I don't want to jinx it too much, but there's still 29 games to go. But Saturday was a different level of excitement for me. Now, obviously, there is some slight caveats to the fact that Chelsea did play Ajax a few days beforehand, which might have helped a little bit, I don't know. But I'm not letting people take that away from Sunderland. That is a fantastic 3 points. And the way we did it as well, going behind in the first 5 minutes, let's be honest, after that point, who would have expected Sunderland to come out of that with 3 points? Who would have expected us to come out of that with 1, let alone 3? But this Sunderland doesn't seem to give up. It doesn't know when it's beaten. It keeps going till the end. From a heart rate, it's still too literal. But at the same time, I think the Sunderland deserve immense amount and enormous credit for sticking with the game plan, for sticking in the game, for making sure we were resolute and hard to beat. And, Nordi Mukiele is just the king of long throws. I think I've just decided that, just to self-proclaim him as the king of long throws. And I think his long throw led to Traore having a shot in the 6-yard box, which then led to Isidore stabbing the ball home from the ricochets and everything else. It causes havoc. It causes problems. If I was to quickly go through Chelsea's goal, I think from defensively from Sunderland, it's not the best. But I'm more lenient with it now than I was, say, when we were in the Championship, or especially when we were in League One, because we're up against some really good quality players, and that sort of stuff can just happen from time to time in the Premier League. It just can. So for me, I think going 1-0 down, I thought stay in the game and don't get battered, really. But, to get back level was really encouraging, and at half-time it was 1-1, and even going throughout the second half, I would argue, although Chelsea did dominate possession, we had a higher XG than Chelsea, and I would say we had better chances than Chelsea as well. That's the big thing. And I know Chelsea aren't the Arsenal standards or whatever else this season. And obviously, of course, they're probably not going to win the Premier League. Of course they're not. But that doesn't make them a bad team. That doesn't make them a team that's not capable or should be capable of finishing in the Champions League places, and a team that should be right near the top of the league. And I think they were on 4 wins in a row in all competitions in the build-up to this game. I'm pretty sure they were. And I watched them against Liverpool. Sorry, Doug, for that. I watched them against Liverpool a few weeks back, and they battered Liverpool. I thought they were the better team and deserved to win that night. So, if Doug disagrees with me, that's fair enough, of course. But the point I'm getting at is, a promoted club should not be coming from 1-0 down and going to Stamford Bridge and win. And let's just say I kind of went, and Karl and Annie and Doug, a lot of people have heard me say this thousands of times probably at this point, but when I saw we'd scored the winning goal, because I actually missed it when I was watching it, and I went, F off, F off, F off. No way this is happening. This is a dream. I'm going to wake up in a minute. I can't have nice things. This goal is going to be disallowed. So to quickly touch on the winning goal, look, Lebris made some proactive changes, and he brought on Broby, he brought on Rigg, he brought on Talby. These were players that helped us out massively when it came to trying to get the. And what was good for me is that we didn't just settle for a point. Obviously, we were resolute and had a structure first and foremost, and if we were going, the minimum we wanted to come out of that was with a point. But we felt we could get at Chelsea and cause them a few problems. And Isidore had a good one-on-one effort in the second half. I think, well, probably was tackled in the end, but got himself in a good position. Xhaka got himself into the box without any fear, which you'd expect from a player of his experience and calibre and quality as well. But then even the winning goal, we launched the ball forward. Gertruda launches the ball forward. Broby does brilliantly to hold the ball up, and he holds it for a good probably 10-15 seconds, waiting for options to come. Gertruda comes sprinting into the box. Talby comes to the very edge of the box, and then Broby just basically passes it to him, and he drills it into the bottom right corner. And one of my best mates was in the away end, and I can only imagine how mental that must have been for him. I didn't properly register it, and I actually shouted, "Get the F in," when I heard the commentators say the goal was going to stand. I was just absolutely stunned. Like, I was stunned, and I still kind of am, to some extent, that we've done that. But with all due respect, like I said, when I've watched my club have years of relegation battles in the Prem, and watching smaller, sometimes much smaller clubs achieve better than us in the Premier League, which for me wasn't good enough, and we were just settling for 17th and not wanting to actually do any better for a club of our size, and then watching us go down, then go down again because it was so much fun the first time, and then stay in League One for 4 seasons, being out of the Prem for 8 seasons, and again, not to make it about Newcastle, but watching them become the richest club in the world, watch them be in the Champions League twice, and watch them win the Carabao Cup. Like, with all due respect, I think I bloody deserve to have some excitement and deserve to have something good to actually come of it. And look, it is still 9 games in the season. We know that. There is still a lot of football to be played. We need to keep our feet on the ground to some extent. But as one of the lads called Davey, who used to call BBC Radio Newcastle, said, let's get, to some extent anyway, let's get carried away, man. This is fantastic, this. If you can't get carried away in times like these, at least to some degree, we might as well give up watching football. And that is so accurate from Davey, God rest his soul. So yeah, I couldn't be prouder of the boys. The amount of effort and desire and intensity and endeavour that this lot have shown on the whole so far this season has made me super proud to be a Sunderland fan, and has made me super proud with the effort that they put into the season. And what's really encouraged me is it's not just work rate, it's quality as well. It's built between work rate and quality. Like Annie said to me just off air at the time I'm recording this, I've just literally done the Championship review show with Karl and Annie. And Annie was saying, look at the squad Sunderland's got. It's good. Like, there actually is a good team there. But yeah, look, we need 23 more points. As I said, I want this to gradually come down for the points tally we need to stay up. But I'm looking at it, I'm going, we're on 17 points now. We need to get 23 more, which is 6 wins and 5 draws if you want to look at it that way, in 29 games, which is more than doable. So, like I've said loads of times, long way to go. And the bit thing that made me quite funny, made me laugh quite a lot, was when Peter Drury, during the Everton-Tottenham game, said Everton's next game, it'll go to title-chasing Sunderland. Howie, Peter, come on, don't get my hopes up too much. But, joking aside, I couldn't be happier with how we've started. Couldn't be happier. Like I said, challenges, of course, coming ahead. We know about AFCON. We know the fixtures we've got between now and the new year are generally pretty tough. And I think our confidence was quite high anyway. But if that result against Chelsea at the weekend doesn't do wonders for our confidence, what result is going to? Take care, everyone. Still stunned that this happened. But remember, for every Sunderland fan, for all the crap we've put up with, bloody well in.
Yeah, I think he summed that up perfectly.
Perfectly, yeah.
Just an amazing result. Really impressive result. And as well, they're competitive, Sunderland. They've maybe against Manchester United, okay, that was a bit of a different sort of task. But I just look at their team and I look at what they've been doing. I don't see a game where they're going to get battered. They're always in the game, and they've always made that. Not bad for a team that's come up from the playoffs as well. Like, everyone expected Sunderland to struggle. Everyone expected them to struggle. But I'll be honest, I did say that I had the feeling they may stay up, but goodness knows, the only way is up for the Sunderland side.
Oh yeah, very much so. It's all the way it's up for them, and especially like I said, they've been so competitive in these games, and then they've been, and they're stuck to its tactics, and that is important, especially for that caliber, that club, the size of the club, and the city itself, which was craving for Premier League football after they got relegated back in 2017. It has been craving for that for a while, and I think we've seen the extent now that with what the ownership's been doing, especially getting an unexperienced manager who's win the players in his first season, it's tremendous, it really is. And actually, to go to back him in the transfer window this summer of the players that they've brought in, when they didn't have to worry about any financial fair play FFP because they had the strength of getting the players they wanted, and they beat clubs just like ourselves, like Leeds and Burnley, and they got the players that they needed to get. And I think to this win at Stamford Bridge, it gives them the huge caliber to play well, to try to I think teams are now be fair when they play against them. They'll be like, how do we deal with their counter attacking? And that's going to be because there is match winners in that squad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, let's move on from Stamford Bridge to go into the game, one of the Sunday games, and Aston Villa beat Man City 1-0. A goal from Matty Cash Scott's in the first half as well. But Doug, we have to talk about one of your players who's on loan, Harvey Elliott. Is the move to Villa on loan has backfired? Has it backfired completely?
I knew that he wasn't in favour at Aston Villa. Emery's obviously said he expects more from Harvey Elliott. Now that's probably to Harvey Elliott's degree as well. Like I think a lot of people said that he he, he struggled to get games at Liverpool, and I can understand that. And I can understand why. I can't understand what is going wrong at Villa though.
Mm.
When I look at Villa, they're a team that are doing really, really well now. They had a slow start to the season. They're doing very, very well. Look at what happened to Jadon Sancho at the weekend as well.
Yeah.
Jadon Sancho was basically substituted. He was subbed on and then subbed off. Now that doesn't happen very often. The only time I can think of that happening was Moise Keane at Old Trafford for Everton. Great one for Aston Villa, but again, I think the thing about Harvey Elliott is it's going to sort of deny them that to enjoy that victory, because everything will be all obviously about Harvey Elliott. But during the game, I thought Villa were excellent. I thought they really, really showed that they were a very good side against Manchester City. Cash obviously getting the winner, which was great to see. But again, it's another one of those ones where you're like I put there, like I've spoken to a few City supporters this week, and they all say the same thing. This defeat's on Pep.
Yeah, I agree.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. It's on Pep. I think he got pretty much everything really not spot on. And I look at the squad, and I'll just get of the team that he played yesterday, and I would like to see, because I just thought to myself, when they lost to Villa yesterday on Sunday, I looked at the team, I'm thinking, okay, you're playing John Stones, who's still not fully fit, and Oscar plays on the right. I thought Shaqiri Odoku could have played. I really feel surprised, and especially, I would have put either Graviol in the centre back and let Nico Riley play. I was surprised with his starting 11. I was very surprised, because I thought that's not a squad that could beat Aston Villa. And
I mean, Tijani Reinders as a number 6 as well. That was looking for trouble. He wasn't great yesterday.
Yeah, to put him in number 6 is not good. He's more better up with either Ben Silva forward. I was surprised that he didn't, put his number 6. I would have played, and it's hard to. I would have played Nico Gonzalez there. I was surprised, but yeah, but to start. But I was very disappointed with their performance. And like I said, the tactics that play Savino on the left. Like I said, I just don't know. Yeah, the blame is on Pep entirely on this one. Entirely.
Should they have cashed in on Savino? A lot of City fans not happy at Savino's performance.
Yes, I would have cashed in, and if you had to cash it and you were going to get Rodrigo, then you should have cashed in completely. I was surprised, but and eventually Spurs didn't get him because man, and the £50 million, you had £50 million there, and you would have got a good profit out of him, and you could have got another a winger, and I think they would have done, but I think they might have looked at that in January again if he's good enough because. Did he not just sign a contract extension, Savinho, as well? Not till after this, the transfer window closed, because I feel like might say did give him a contract. So that's a bit of a worry when you give him a contract, another
Yeah,
extension, and he's not been good enough for City the last few weeks. And I don't blame the Man City fans having it going because I think he's he's a liability at the moment, one of the liabilities at the moment.
yeah, yes. But a very, very good victory for Aston Villa. However, the Harvey Elliott situation needs to be sorted out immediately. It has to be. Now, it's an option to buy. I don't think it's an obligation to buy. It's an option
Option
to buy
by
for 35 million. I just don't. I just don't see. That's just really happening. I really, really don't. I think Harvey Elliott's going to be a Liverpool player again. I would not be surprised to see that in the slightest. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we potentially loan him back in January and think, right, get him out for another loan deal. Because again, I can't really see him fitting into the squad.
Do you know what? I would not be surprised, and I will say this to you, Doug. I would not be surprised if Leeds was going to be one of those clubs because I think there was some murmurs back in the summer, especially if you wanted to, him and some of the players, but it would not be a surprise if he's been linked to like some of the clubs that are really pushing it up the boundaries up in the Premier League. In a way, yeah, I think this wrong move. This is not a good move for Villa at all to not play him at the moment. I think because they're paying a decent amount of low fee for him as well. Excuse me, and that's the thing. I think Villa, especially when they find with players that are available, they're not good at dealing with it. Other than Marcus Rashford, that's a bit different, but. For Harvey Elliott, that's a bit of a worry with that one. If you're not playing him, and I think he's not being fair, and he's got his degrees, he's got part himself to play for that. So look, we're not surprised if it's either be one of the teams down at the bottom half of the Premier League will get him in January. It will not be surprised at all because I don't think he'll get anywhere near the England squad.
No, that's
Not
my
under Thomas Tuchel.
that's my concern.
Not under Thomas Tuchel. I think Tuchel's already looked like he knows his squad already now. After a call, I think he knows his squad already now. And that's why I
Yeah,
think Harvard would not be in that part of that squad for the World Cup next summer.
yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, I agree with that. But going away from one Manchester club to another. Well, well, well. Are they back? Are Manchester United back? Well, 4-2 against Brighton. I put there Brian Mbuemo, absolutely superb. Is he Manchester United's best signing in the summer?
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, he's been one of the best signings of the summer. And I think, it was always the right, I hate to say this, it was the right for him to go to Old Trafford, especially for under Amorim's system. I think he's been one of the fantastic signings for them, probably out of Cunha. I think Cunha's behind him, no doubt about it, because Cunha got his first goal for Manchester United. But deep down, yeah, I think Mbuemo was really their best signing this summer. And the way he links up players, the way his finishing is first class, and I think that was the why he was had a good partnership with Vissa at Brentford last season because the experience they needed up front. And Sesko, he's slowly getting into the starting 11 now, but I think Mbuemo was always going to be that first player on that team sheet alongside Fernandes and Cunha. So it's a good win for Ruben Amorim. 3 wins on the bounce as well, and like I said, it's totally 2 games away for Frank, the Man United fan, to get his haircut. Bloody hell, I can't believe that's going to happen if they win 5 in the trot.
Yeah, I didn't think that was ever looking like it was going to happen. But yeah, three wins in a row. Welbeck, very good free kick, I've got to say. Returning to Old Trafford, and yeah, cracking free kick as well. I mean, Brighton did pose Manchester United a couple of problems. Obviously, getting that goal at the end to make it 3-2, make it a bit nervy. Greek boy, I can't pronounce his name, so don't even ask for the life of me how you pronounce
I
his
would
name, but
not. Yeah, I would not want to. Mate. I'm trying to avoid that myself. As I'm trying to avoid with me being dyslexic, but it was. Listen, I'm going to pronounce it. Consulas, yeah, Consulas, yeah. That's what I'm going to say. That's how I pronounce it.
yeah.
Yeah.
There was actually a very interesting stat in that game. I don't know if you seen it, but James Milner, the oldest player to assist a player who wasn't even born when he made his Premier League debut.
Wow. Yeah, that is a very, very, very good start actually. There. Yeah. Wow. Oldest player assisting a player that was never born. My God. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that just gets even weirder when you hear about it. But no, I've got to say, Man United looking good. That win at Anfield, they build confidence, and obviously the win against Brighton, they played really well. So are they back? Well, time will tell. I think they go to the City ground on Saturday, and then I think they're away to Tottenham. So some two tough games there, but you wouldn't put past against them getting 4 and 5 wins potentially.
No, you can't at this moment of time. But like I say, time will tell, Doug. Time will tell on that on if they can get more than 5 wins in the next couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
Right, let's move on from Old Trafford to the Vitality Stadium, and Sean Dyche had his first Premier League debut defeat as a new Nottingham Forest head coach. They lost 2-0 away to Bournemouth. Doug James Tavernier straight from a corner. That was surprising, but Bournemouth in second. How amazing is that the early start of the season with losing so much of their back four this summer.
And their only defeat was at Anfield. And I think that now that win is looking more and more like it was a very, very impressive victory because this Bournemouth side are fantastic under Andoni and Ola. Obviously, you got Krupi playing like a really, really good striker at the moment. He's been unbelievable recently. That
Yeah.
Krupi. Um, Yeah, Marcus Tavernier getting the goal from straight from a corner as well. There is a slight touch from Justin Cliver on Matt Sells that sort of puts him out of position. But yeah, great goal. But Forest, I don't think will be too disheartened because I think they played
No.
well.
Yeah.
Um, but again, I think Bournemouth had chances to get more goals in this game. But if you're Sean Dyche, you've definitely got some positives to take out of that.
Oh yeah.
They bloody went and beat FC Porto midweek as well.
Yeah, I know. In Dyche's first game, I think, it's gonna the players are looking a lot more happy. I think they suit the style of what Dyche plays, and I think, maybe now he's gonna get the use of the players that Forest did buy this summer to get the best use out of them now completely. Because if they want to stay up, I think Dyche is gonna have to prefer every single player on that field every so often, especially while they're playing in Europe. They have to now, I was not. I was praying if Big Ange was still there, because at least play them in a couple of weeks' time before the international break. But it's maybe a little bit fear now that with them slowly back, they're back to the old selves. So yeah, time will tell of where they are before we play again in a couple of weeks' time.
There we
So
go. Bournemouth second
yeah,
is just unbelievable for Andoni Iraola's side, but a very good win. And yeah, Nottingham Forest next play Manchester United. Tough start for Dyche, but we'll see what will happen at the weekend.
yes, absolutely. Let's go on from a disappointed. It looks like everything's just kind of really ebbing away for Wolves at the moment. They lost 3-2 at home to Burnley, and like I said, Doug, we got to start off. Victor Pierre and Jakob Strand Larsen, they clash with their home fans. It's such a
Yeah,
huge mess at the moment. You can see that club is it looked like it's going down this season. It looked like the club is gone.
I think the fact that you lose this potential 6-pointer after being 2-0 down, getting yourselves back to 2-2, yeah, it's a big, big worry. First things first, I thought Burnley played really, really well. That
Yeah,
Zian Fleming first goal, if anyone hasn't seen that first goal, takes it, basically, ball is basically coming up, basically coming over his head, gets on his left foot, and he just basically just places it.
yeah,
Brilliant goal. Absolutely brilliant goal. Um, Second goal, carbon copy. Of the left back getting into Zian Fleming, and that was obviously 2-0. Then obviously they get the penalty from Strand Larson, well, they're getting that back, and then Munetsi getting the 2-2. And then after that, both sides sort of were going sort of back to forth, back to forth. But yeah, the one thing is Lyle Foster getting the winning goal, and again it's poor defending from Wolves. It really, really is poor defending, and Sam Johnson comes out, goes into the back of the net. But I tell you, the one person Burnley have to thank for this victory, Martin Dubravka. That save at the end, where he just has to basically claw it out with his left hand. Fantastic save, and that was for me a well-deserved 3 points for Burnley, because I did feel in the first half that they were the better side. Um, it could have been a draw in the end, but yeah, I worry for Wolves now. I really, really do. I don't see where the next win's coming from. I don't see where the next point is coming from.
no,
They've obviously given Pereira this new 4-year contract now. It feels like something's happening at Wolves, and I
yeah.
don't think it's anything to be happy about. I think it's something to be really, really concerned about. But
The one, the one.
what were
Sorry.
your feelings? What are your feelings about Wolves?
It's like what you just said. It's something's not right at the club, and I read something in the Athletic today, Doug, actually, and it's John Textor has been linked with the club, the former Crystal Palace shareholder, John Textor. He has been linked with of buying a stake at the club, but it's gonna be a bit complicated. So there's a lot of complications in that one. But he's been sniffing for another Premier League club, Championship club, and Wolves has been one of the names has been attracted to him. I think because what's going on with the Fashine International ownership is what's been going on. It's a lot of concerns, especially when you lost a lot of good players over the last 5 seasons. It's hit them so hard. It's really hit them so hard, and I think there's been a lack of a return of investment into that squad as well. But I think with the manager upheaval of after when Nuna left, it's yeah. I think they peaked so too high towards after Nuno, and then you could see the slow decline at the moment. And I think this is the scenario. Then I just see that the ship's actually going down slowly, and I think it will go down. But come by the end of May, the ship will be down, and I will see Wolves as a championship team next summer.
It feels like it's going that way. It feels like it's going that way. But a quick one on Burnley, first away win of the season, and actually they looked pretty good. I thought the way that they played at the weekend. Parker's got them playing for sure.
He has, and I think it's like I said, these managers who have been promoted a lot, and I know can you say Scott Parker is one of those super managers, maybe, but I think if he could continue to get this Burnley side good, getting good results, I think they will. I think they have a chance to stay up, and I think Parker, like I said, he's playing the right way now after learning a lesson. I think Burnley suits him more than he was at Bournemouth or even at Fulham as well. So I think yeah, I think he don't be surprised. Like I said, the way he's playing, I think they continue that good run of form, and it's fair play to the Clarets because you know they after the last couple of seasons, under company, they could have gone. They could have got Ruud van Nistelrooy, but they didn't, and getting Scott Parker, which was not everyone's cup of tea, but I think everyone's now praising him a bit of what he's done at Burnley, including this season as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, let's go on from to Friday night's game, and well, Doug, I have to say, two quick fire goals from Leeds to win against West Ham, 2-1. Listen, we got top ball at West Ham, Doug. They can't
Yeah,
defend the corners. Is this squad
yeah.
not good enough for Nuno completely?
You take Jared Bowen. You take Crescencio Somerville, and you take Lucas Paqueta out of that team. They are as average as you can get. I honestly feel for Nuno going in there. There's already talk that he's now under pressure, which would be really, really not surprising in the slightest. It's just been a disastrous season so far for West Ham.
Yeah,
Um, but again, I watched that game the other night, Leeds West Ham. You get the first goal in 3 minutes. 3 minutes. That's all it took.
yeah,
And you know, Aronson was obviously criticised last week for his misses at Burnley. But obviously got the first goal. But the second goal, like defensively, I would be really concerned if I was a West Ham supporter because you give Joe Rodon that time, he's gonna, he will score. Um, Obviously they had a goal ruled out for offside. I think Paqueta just strayed ever so slightly. Obviously,
yeah,
great
yeah,
finish into the top corner. But barring that, I think West Ham were booed off the pitch at half time.
yeah,
You're not fit to wear the shirt as
yeah.
well. It's a really toxic atmosphere there at the moment at West Ham, and
It's been toxic for a long time, barring they won the Conference League a couple of seasons ago. So
yeah, and same with Wolves. I struggle to see where the next point's coming from. I really do.
I do agree. I do agree. I think David Croft on from Sky Sports F1, he's a big West Ham fan, and he actually spoke about this on the Premier League show on Friday. He said if this was The Apprentice, he would have fired Karen Brady from the first episode. That just said, "Oh, with the ownership of the club, it's just been poisonous." And I think it's becoming a toy that they're not even looking after properly, and I think that's a huge worry for the Hammers fans, especially when you move to a stadium which I think the majority of the fans did not want. But like I said, leaving a good ground up where it was intimidating. You go to a very soulless stadium that they don't own, and I think it's a bit of a downturn of the transfer policy of the players that they've signed over the years. Have been waiting and not been good enough. And they're doing good enough at other clubs when they leave. It's just so much pressure at West Ham. I just worry about them. Yes, Nuno's under pressure. The problem is he's got no pace in that squad. The only two players that has got pace, it's not Bowen, it's not Somerville, it's not Paqueta. It was two their centre backs. I've got when I looked at the start,
Mhm.
I've got pace. That is not good enough. It's not good
Yeah.
enough at all for the Hammers.
But I suppose, obviously, you've had a pretty good weekend with obviously Leeds and Hearts winning. Um, is this a changing point for your season? This win?
It was. I think after losing to Burnley last week, it was so disappointing. We had much possession in the game. I think this was the changing moment because I think Farker had to make changes, and he did. Bringing Pereira back in goal, Jacobrio, who he should have been starting weeks ago, but he gets his start. He looked very comfortable alongside Joe Rodon. And I think, playing, letting Stack come off for a bit and playing Tanaka, which was, I think, was needed. We missed it. We missed that part. Missed him completely, in that midfield three. But I think Harrison has been that workhorse that a lot of people are now applauding a little bit more now after the last season. A lot of fans didn't want him to be there, and finally gets his first goal in the Premier League since, his last goal was against the goal against Chelsea 2 years ago when we won 3-0.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like I said, I think he's been a work rate, and you know what? Yes, he's attacking. He's been focal with his attacking, his chances, but he's been better more defensively, which was needed playing alongside Bogle, which has been vital on that right hand side. But I think, like I said, to get that win on Friday, when I looked at the stats on Match of the Day on Saturday, the clubs have got the promote clubs who get lower points and more, they all stay up. So this could happen that all three promote teams could stay up because it's what we need, and I think this is why Leeds were not going to be asking for more possession as long as we could be effective when we close it in and counter attack. That's what it's needed, and I think like I said, the set pieces is probably been our second biggest factor as well, as well.
Yeah.
So, which is really vital because we were shocking the last couple of years, but I think we've turned the corner of that of physicality that we've needed. Just worry about Goodmanson. Is he going to be out? Hopefully not for too long. And I know he went off with a back injury. We do expect Nonto to be back in the squad as well soon. Dan James got some minutes as well. So yeah, looking at that. So I think at the moment it was a turning point that was needed on Friday night to get that result. Because I think if we didn't win that game, it would have been there was going to be concerns. But Farker is learning this lesson. He's put I think making that change on Friday was the right thing. And, I think Jakobio, might be in that starting a little bit more often now going forward, and then Strike. I think Strike and Rod have been good, but Strike, being Strike being out with a cold. I think Bio deserves a lot more game time because that's what we paid big amount of money for him as well, actually, about 50, 70 million. It's what we pay for him, and we need to use him, utilise him alongside Rodon.
Yeah, huge win for Leeds, but if you're West Ham, you are looking ever closer towards the trap door. Yes, only 9 games played, but just worry where your next point's coming from.
Yeah, it's a bit worrying, though. It's a bit worrying. I'll let you take on the promoted game before we get into the last game.
Yes, and this was a bit of a surprise. I didn't actually see this coming. Everton 0, Tottenham 3. I mean, Everton were, well, let's just say they were poor, but they did have their chances. Obviously, Grealish had one that was off the line from Porro. Beto had one that was an overhead kick saved by Vicario. I've got to say, Vicario did have a very, very good game.
He
But
looked a little bit more better this time. In the last couple of the week before, he wasn't really that good. So
yeah, and Van den Ven double as well. And then Papi Sarr gets a goal, but doesn't celebrate. Now, obviously, you can understand his frustration because he hasn't really been in much in the team, Karl. But what a great result for Spurs! They're up to third now with that win.
yeah, a really good result for Tottenham, and they needed it as well after the last, couple of games. They were a bit iffy in the last couple of games, but to get that, especially in Europe, to get that no at Monaco, I think it helped them a bit, especially with the last game when they played in the Premier League. It was Sunday night, they lost 2-1 to Villa. It was disappointing, but to get that way to try to bounce back after a tough weekend before at home to lose to Villa late on, but to get the draw against Monaco, a very very difficult Monaco side who had chances to win that game, and I think Vicario, it looked like he's slowly, he redeemed himself after the game before. But yeah, a good result for Thomas Frank and for the Spurs team as well, completely, to get that 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, the second goal, I've seen people say that this is a foul on Jordan Pickford, but for me, I think Jordan Pickford needs to be much, much better.
Yeah.
He has to be a lot stronger. Van de Ven just peeled off him, and it's a fantastic header.
Yeah, I agree as well. I think Pickford was too soft and not not being physical with Van der Ven to get to lead to the second goal. Yeah, I think Pickford should have done better than that to completely. There was no way it was going to be a free kick at all.
No, absolutely not. But a very good win for Tottenham. While Everton, yeah, very, very poor. And as Peter Drury said the other night, Everton go to title chasing Sunderland. I don't think you would have ever heard those words in Peter
No,
Drury's mind. But there we go.
no, absolutely not. It's I admired the way he said it yesterday. Oh, that was yeah. It's interesting. It really is interesting. Right, let's get on to the final game then. And Bruno Guimaraes gets a late winner for Newcastle after the beat Fulham 2-1. Open goal from Jacob Murphy to get Newcastle ahead, but Saka is headed after the shot was rebounded, and then Guimaraes getting the win. But Doug, was it another poor performance from Newcastle?
They're scraping through games at the moment. They've not really got that 90-minute performance in them yet. I've got to say, the first goal is absolutely shocking defender from Calvin Bassey. Don't know what he's trying to do. He's basically trying to get he's trying to get out of a tight space. But Murphy is all over him, and great finish by Murphy, I've got to say. But yeah, Newcastle had their chances, but again, it's more scraping through for them for me at the moment. But if you're scraping through games, which is really, really good to good to see. It's good to sort of get that momentum going. Obviously, be Benfica midweek as well. But if I was a Fulham supporter, this is where I worry. I worry they're in a relegation battle there, Karl. What do you think?
I think they are. I think they are at the moment. I think because they didn't do. I think because only one of the teams that didn't invest enough this season. So I think Marco Silva has been very frustrated with pretty much the majority of the lack of transfer activity this cross of the summer. Yeah, they signed Kevin, and from but also signed could I say from AC Milan as well, from AC Milan as well. It's not been good enough for Fulham, and I think this poor run form they had, 4 losses on the trot now. It's worrying for them. I think the fans need to really be fair because, especially the lack. I think it's the transfer windows. It's costing them at the moment of not investing in that squad where they should have done a bit more this summer. Especially when you got teams around you who come back up and spend a lot more than Fulham have, and that is surprising.
Yeah, it is very, very surprising. But from Newcastle point of view, late win, very, very good win. But Fulham looking potentially towards the relegation zone.
Yeah, it's a huge worry at the moment, Doug. It's a huge worry for them, and I think, listen, they're on the fixtures at this moment. They've got to go to Wolves on Saturday, which is a big 6 pointer that one, and then they got everything before the international break, and then after that they got the home to Sunderland, and then away to Spurs on the 29th around the end of November. So there's some huge games that need to get some
Yeah,
points against the bottom sides at the moment for them. They need the results now, or they're going to be. If Forest beats them, then that's a huge calling, because if Michael Silva's not signed a contract extension yet, which he hasn't yet, I think Fulham will need to think about this carefully now, thinking, do they extend his contract while in the relegation battle? I think that's what Sharkhan needs to decide.
yeah, absolutely. But that rounds off week 9. We will just go to the table.
Yes, absolutely. So Arsenal are now 4 points clear ahead of Bournemouth, who go up to second. Spurs and Sunderland make up the top four. Man City go down to fifth, with Man United now on level points ahead of them. Liverpool with their running form and now level points with Aston Villa, Chelsea, and Crystal Palace. The only over three teams in that the rest of the top 10 lost alongside Man City. Palace are now 11 points with Brentford. Newcastle, they're now 11 points with Brighton, but ahead of goal difference at the bottom of the table. It's still struggling Wolves at the moment, with West Ham behind them, 2 points ahead of them, with Nottingham Forest on 5 points, and Fulham are now dropped down to 70 points after Burnley got the win yesterday at Molineux.
Yeah, absolutely. But that does round off another episode of the 20 podcast. My big thanks to co-host Karl Edwards Levy. Yeah, tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me at the Totally Leaving Home Football Podcast on YouTube. I am back on this weekend to do the Saturday show before I meet Michael to watch Hearts against Dundee on Saturday. Then Sunday we'll be back to do the Championship review at 8 o'clock onwards. I think from after next week I will let you know what's happened, because I know my new job. There will be 1 or 2 appearances on some of the shows I might not have to do each weekend because due to my work commitments, but I will keep you guys informed of where I can do when I'm back on the shows as well. So please keep an eye on that on our community page on the channel's on YouTube channel.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, apologies. I've had a bit of a cold this week, so yeah, if I've been sort of a bit bunged up, etc., then you'll obviously know why. But yeah, big thank you to everyone who continues to watch and listen. Going forward from next season, we will be obviously doing Spotify. I have decided from next season we'll go from this to Spotify. Obviously, we'll still do the videos as
Yeah.
well, but looking forward to that. But if you have liked what you have watched, then please do hit the like button. Please do hit the subscribe button on my channel and on Karl's channel, as this video will go out to both channels. And also press that little hype button as well, because we all know YouTube is all about algorithms. But another fascinating weekend. Sunderland flying, Wolves dropping, West Ham dropping, all the promoted teams win. Yeah, very interesting weekend. And we look ahead to week 10 next week. But from myself and Karl,